This is your BOMM Wednesday service. I am Naima Cochrane, your senior pastor, and also known, I should say at this point, as the senior pastor of Music Sermon. And with me, at always, is my beloved minister of HEPS, not HELPS, but HEPS, Carron J. Phillips, representing Spell House, and appropriately so. Carron, tell the people, please. Well, first of all, wait, let me back up. First of all, Happy New Year, because we skipped last week, which is why you're wearing your Spell House shirt this week. And I'll talk about why we skipped last week in a minute. But tell the people why you are so fervently representing your alma mater on today.
Once again, we saved the world for you.
I mean, to put it mildly.
For you, humans, you normal ones. We had to take out our capes, and yet again, for the, I would say umpteenth time, but that's probably too small, we've saved you all again. So you all are still breathing, you're still sane, for as much as you can be in these times, but we did our part.
So what Carron means is that Stacey Abrams, who has led the way for the Georgia turnovers for the general election and for the runoff that led to a triumph for Ossoff and Warnock, is a Spelman alum, and that Reverend Warnock, who is now the first Black senator from the state of Georgia
in the history of Georgia, the 11th Black senator overall,
and who is also senior pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church,
the blackest church,
which was Martin Luther King's church, is an alumnus of Morehouse, which for the white people who listen and or watch our show are two of the most storied historic Black colleges and universities in our great nation, and are known as Spell House, as they are brother-sister institutions. So that is what Carron means, as he tells us ever so humbly that they pulled out their capes and saved us mere mortals.
Mere mortals,
as he said. Carron, I'm gonna ask you to turn off your television in the back because it's distracting. Okay,
that's the game, but
I know it's distracting me. It's distracting me. That's not even a production note. That's a Naima note, because I'm like, what's going on behind him? So we did skip last week because one of my mother's best friends passed last Tuesday morning. We tape on Tuesday evenings, and we were prepared in a way. We knew it was coming. She'd been battling a dual cancer diagnosis for a couple to a few years, and we knew it was coming soon. Monday night, Mom told me that she called. She's in South Carolina. Monday night, Mom told me that, she had called people to the hospital to say goodbye, and that she was tired, and she died early Tuesday morning. So even though, you guys might say, well, I saw you tweeting on Tuesday and stuff, the way emotions work is, like, my family
don't really work. They just they just do things.
My family is a very, like, death is a part of life type family, so we really do try to lean in more to celebrating as a part of mourning and grieving. But I was sad. I was still sad, and it was coming in waves, and I'm welling up now. I was so sad. And what I was really sad about is that, like, this mother was like an aunt to me. She's been alive for 25 years. But I was just really sad my mom lost her girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a partner, and her ride or die, what I mean by that. So it's like, I've traveled with them, and Carron has seen me out. Like, I kick it. They kicked, like, they were like, they matched each other's energy. They traveled well together. They had the same interests, did the same shit. So I'm just also really sad for the loss of that, So that is why we took off last week. Sorry, I'm not going to crawl through the show. That is why we took off last week. And I think that we actually don't talk enough about how important those friendships and relationships are, even in your latter life. Like we talk about it, what it means when we're young adults, what it means college, young adults, even maybe this stage of adulthood. But then I think there's like this thought that like once your family comes along, your friends are secondary to that. But
Nope.
Black people, especially, we know we got all kinds of aunts and uncles and cousins who we ain't related to at all. It's just that they're friends. Our parents are friends.
And just be around. They've been around our whole lives.
They've been around our whole lives. So that is why we took last week off. But I'm happy to be back with y'all. And like shit. Clearly there is much to discuss today. I'm gonna do a little bit of housekeeping. Most of it centers around white people being crazy. Carron and I,
breaking news. Breaking news.
Carron and I usually have like a little conversation or a touch base before we tape to go through topics and possible things we want to discuss. And I hit him the other day like we can just go off dome because it's white people madness. It's white people madness. But
does that be the name of the show? White people
madness. We might change the name actually. Stop paying attention to these white people. That's actually what we might rename the show.
John King's people are acting up, y'all.
But first, I do want to do a little bit of housekeeping. Thank you to those of you who joined us for our holiday pajama jammy jam show, whether you did it live.
Views were up there on YouTube. They were like 547.
People enjoyed it.
I was up late last night watching because I ate something and I'm old. I have stomachache all
night.
You had agita? So I was just up on YouTube scrolling on my phone, and I like rewatch half the old show. And I never rewatch old shows.
I don't really ever either. I need to do that more because it's funny when I do. People really enjoyed the show. I got a lot of comments about the fact that I was drinking. Y'all not gonna see that often. Carron's the drinker.
You was drunk.
I was tipsy, but when we finished the show, like almost immediately after we finished the show, you know, when you cross that line from tipsy to drunk, like then I was drunk. Like if that show had run for 30 more minutes, it would have turned into a whole nother show. I was drunk by the time we finished that show, but during the show I was tipsy. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I want to thank and this is where housekeeping comes in. You know, the crews from the OG Bomb Show, from Crazy Sexy Cool, especially. I was really excited that the ladies joined us and all had on proper attire, I should say. Obviously from Woke Bros, growing up the same. Trey, you know, gave us his best Ghostface look. You missed it when he came in because he on full robe. By the time you came in, he just out in the tank.
I saw it. And he still didn't follow dress code.
He did. He tried to keep us like, oh yeah, he did. Technically he did.
He did.
Trey, who, by the way, whose birthday was the other day, happy belated, Trey. And I think he should be in New York now. Actually, I think he's here. I need to hit him and see how he's faring. But yeah, and you came with smoking jacket and your ascot, and your silk ascot. I appreciated it. I appreciated the look very much so.
Listen, somebody had to be play.
All you needed was a pipe.
I was thinking of getting one, but I did because I wore a similar outfit like that to a Halloween party in grad school, and I had the blindfold, and I was the Black Hugh Hefner.
Yeah.
In the cold of winter, but I've still pulled it off.
So I appreciate it. So if that was your first time, if you're a Wednesday service listener and that was the first time that you have gotten put on to any of the other crew, please check them out regularly. We are all here for your entertainment. If you are listening to this right now and not watching, you need to be ashamed of yourself. You should find Count the Dings on YouTube because every single one of our shows are now also in video format. And you need to be able to see when Carron is sending messages through his attire because he does it almost every week. So that said, yeah, so Wednesday, last Wednesday, I want to phrase this with the proper magnitude because I think that people still do not really understand.
They understand.
Last Wednesday was the first joint sessions of Congress, which after every general election, The first joint sessions of Congress in January is for the purpose of ratifying the Electoral College votes, right? And officially confirming the election results. And the reason I'm doing air quotes for those watching me with officially is because it is largely ceremonial. It's a lot of pomp and circumstance. The electoral certificates for each state, they are paper certificates. All the states have them designed differently. But even though it's largely, and it's meant to feel grand and traditional, because to convey the weight of the work that Congress does, right? It's a really great way to start the year and new sessions for freshman members and all.
It's like a wedding.
Exactly. It's like a wedding. Like you
just
probably,
because you
like
have
you
a
already
wedding
signed the
doesn't
paperwork.
mean you're married. You
Exactly.
aren't married until you both sign the document.
Right. And often people are already married going in. They've signed the document already even, but it's the ceremony of it, right? And those physical pieces of paper do actually need to be filed as well. So since December, there have been a rally planned to boycott this process, right? Because Trump was still telling people, as were some elected members of Congress, that the election results were invalid. Trump had also started telling people that Mike Pence, as the president of the Senate, had it within his sole power and discretion to override and nullify all the Electoral College votes and stop the whole process, right? So these two things have been happening. Trump even tweeted in December, come to DC on January 6th. It's going to be a wild time. Everybody knew this shit was happening on January 6th.
Pull up.
There had been a rally for this that was, I guess, maybe at the memorial, maybe somewhere not far from the Capitol building. No, it was at the White House. At the White House, where Trump, I want to say Trump and Giuliani spoke, and Trump literally gave the directive to go march on the Capitol to stop them.
Go show your ass.
Correct. So the Proud Boys and the white supremacists and the Trumpicon member, attendees and various operatives.
I just have a question.
Yes.
What are they proud of?
I have no idea. Being white, I guess. I don't know. Various operatives, a few paid people carried their ass to the Capitol, where we watched, first bemused that they seem to be meeting very little resistance from police.
I was not bemused. I was not expecting any resistance.
And then, alarmed as we realized these motherfuckers. Well, let me tell you how it happened for me. I looked away from whatever I was doing. I can't remember what I was doing. And then saw, because my TV was off, and then saw a tweet that there was active gunfire from within Senate chambers. And I was like, I'm sorry, what is happening? Because
trying to club up thugs.
So this is where I got to put a pause. The last time the Capitol building of the United States of America was breached and seized was in 1812. And we were under attack from the fucking British. It is unheard of. It is ahistoric. This is technically not, let alone people with arms, people flying the Confederate flag, which in all the conversation about the Confederate flag and heritage versus hate and all this other stuff, understand that they lost. They lost, but also these were people who challenged. This was a group of states that challenged the Union in war to be able to secede from the Union. So the battle flag the Confederate battle flag has never flown in the Capitol building ever in history, because unlike the people who seem to think this shit holds up tradition, it is actually an anti-United States of America flag. Mm-hmm. And we've forgotten that because Southern states still fly them on the Capitol building. And because now we have Confederate monuments in states that weren't even part of the Confederacy. And because our government and our police protect Confederate monuments. They challenged us in war. They fucking lost. They were the enemy, right? So we got the battle flag and say somebody's flying flag. People
Not
flying
only
flags on
war,
each other. Yeah.
the deadliest war in American history.
The deadliest war in American history, which, side note, COVID deaths are about to hit Civil War numbers in just a minute. But it's the only American war that we haven't surpassed in COVID death numbers, just as a side note. But I need everybody to be very, very clear that for all intents and purposes, what happened on Wednesday, it wasn't just insurrection. It wasn't just sedition. It wasn't just a coup attempt. It was, if it had been citizens from any other country, it would have been a declaration of war. I really think I need y'all to be clear. And
what it was a...
It was an attack against the state.
No, it was a... What's the right analogy? It was the second half to a shitty game. The first half of this game was, like you said, in 1812, or the states succeeding and South Carolina when it started and going to the island, trying to become their own country with their own flag to fight the Union and the rest of the United States because they wanted to own Black people.
Correct.
And they were like, oh, we can't own Black people because we love being lazy and not doing anything. So we're going to become our own country and fight y'all and win so that we can own Black people because we're really lazy and we don't know how to do shit. They lost. And because they lost, and because white people don't like to deal with any type of consequences.
And because they're terrible losers.
It led to Jim Crow and other things. And there was never
and the Klan.
Yeah, there was never any consequence for the Southern states. There was nothing. It was just like, y'all shouldn't have done that. Be better Americans. Even though they did something and where they came out and said, we don't want to be Americans anymore. So
correct.
What last week was, that same group of people, the same heritage, that same hate was like, hey, we don't want this Black woman to be a heartbeat away from the presidency. You know what we're going to do again? The same exact shit that we did before. When we was created this dumbass flag. And it just happened again. Like point, it was the second half of it was the second half of the racism bowl. That's what it was.
So that's what it was. And I'm glad you said that because I spoke to that a little bit on Twitter because I saw a few people who were like, you know, members of the Confederacy never went away. They were just hiding. And I was like, no. They've never been hiding. Never been hiding. And whoever, people who said that have not spent any time south of the Mason-Dixon line. True. We see the Confederate flag more now in other areas of the country than we used to because it does represent hate. And it represents white supremacy. Like, let's be very clear. The heritage that the Confederate flag represents is a heritage of fighting for white supremacy and for white dominance.
We've seen that flag
heritage
spread since this dude.
This administration.
No, since this young senator from the state of Illinois decided to run for president. Now, if you go back and trace when that happened, to how this flag has spread across the country, you will find so many. There is a direct correlation, and so many direct things.
Correct. Well, and also going even back to that,
I got this flag in Wyoming.
But also, like, the flag itself had died down until the Civil Rights era. So as Black pride and Black power became a thing, the Daughters of the Confederacy and all these other motherfuckers was like if you look back to when a lot of these Confederate monuments were erected, they should have been up since the fucking war or since post-war. But also, like you said, the problem with America is that white people behaving badly is never punished. So if the fact that the Confederate flag flies directly below the U.S. flag on so many state capitals, right? The fact that there are states that weren't in a confederacy that have Confederate monuments because why? And that they're like government property. Why? Like, since when do we celebrate the losers in battle? For one, the fact that, you know, as everything increases, people turn a blind eye. these are all tipping points, and every one of them you can see, like you said, Jim Crow and the Ku Klux Klan were reactions to not being able to have slavery anymore. Using this stupid ass flag again was a reaction to Black people actually gaining a voice. Now this whole new wave of shit was a reaction to a Black man taking office. So every time any Black people, people of color, marginalized people start to have a groundswell of visibility, of power, of support, that flag is going to be hoisted higher, and white people are going to be more and more indignant. And every stupid thing that's been happening of late, anti-maskers, Trump getting elected in the first place, like all of this shit is because white people hate hearing no. And white people hate not being able to just do whatever the fuck they want to do. So even now, like breaching the Capitol building itself, breaching the Capitol building itself is a federal offense. They destroyed federal property. They were armed in the Capitol building while government was in session, right?
You know why they were armed?
Because the cops
Republicans won't pass stricter gun laws.
Also that, right? Blood was spilled like feet away from Senate chambers.
People died. Police got stomped out.
A cop died. Cops were injured, right? They were stealing shit. They went through federal property. Somebody took Nancy Pelosi's mail. That's a federal offense. And like, it was so much shit happening. And what I was stunned about, and I mean, a lot of the lack of reaction to shit during the Trump administration has stunned me, but also really alarmed me, because I'm like, in this reality era / gaming era / whatever, y'all motherfuckers really don't understand like this shit is, how insane this shit is, and how damaging it is, and how dangerous it is, right? Because a lot of Americans are watching like, oh, these are a bunch of clowns. They can't even be effective. They don't even know what they're doing. But there was a group within that group of clowns who were literally looking for Mike Pence to take him hostage.
They had bombs, y'all.
There were 3 bombs found and deactivated. And who knows how many more there were, because nobody searched these people's bags as they left. They just let them leave. There were no buses.
They had zip ties.
There were no buses rounding people up. Yeah, there were some optical tacticians who went directly to Senate chambers. They were looking for Mike Pence. The plan was to take him hostage. If you look up the attempted Spanish parliamentarian coup of, I want to say it was 1981, a group of militia members interrupted sessions when they were voting for the newest prime minister. And they held all the members of parliament hostage for like a day. I really believe that's what they were trying to do in order to stop this. So it's scary, it's unconscionable, and the fact that Trump is still in office and the GOP is just trying to run down the clock, and I get it, it's bad optics. I need y'all to understand, the rest of the world is looking at us so crazy, like so crazy, and
I don't think they are.
They're with the ghetto. We are the ghetto right now. I do think they're, because because imagine this person that who always like acts like they got their shit together. They shit's always fly. They always trying to give you advice like, well, what you should do. And then if I was you, I would just, and I don't know why y'all just don't. And they always stunting on you and shit and flossing and shit. And their whole shit is just a mess. And now you're looking like, look at these niggas over here. These niggas, you trying to tell us what the fuck. I think
you're giving America too much credit, and you're not giving other countries enough credit.
But literally, national security teams of other countries like having conversations about us like they're the ghetto.
No, but like it's and to run right back, that point about the Klan, they got restarted in Northwest Indiana. If anyone thinks the Klan is just some Southern thing, it's not. But no, these other countries aren't looking at us as like the cool kid in high school who really had like a shitty home life. They're looking at us like,
I'm feeling it's like the assholes. Yeah.
You acted like the cool kid, but we always saw right through you and knew you wasn't shit. Because these other countries knew we've been trash. They're not surprised.
But now they know that we are vulnerable. That's the thing.
We've always been vulnerable.
But we've not been visibly vulnerable. Like somebody knows now that they could put some people on the ground if they didn't already. Like imagine, I hope they did a thorough, sweep, rebooting, searching. We already know that these niggas use password 123 as passwords, but folks are like just going through drawers, just on people's computers. They could have planted anything, any kind of listening device, bugging, hacking, backdooring, anything. And they need to throw all the technology out of the Capitol and start from ground zero. Just buy all
so what you're trying to say is that maybe people should be using their personal servers for their email?
I wouldn't trust shit. I would have been like, I'm bringing my laptop from home. I wouldn't be trusting shit in that building right now. Can you imagine? And who knows what they took? Like, again, who knows what they took? We don't even know. And you know what? They're not going to tell us because they don't want this to be a big global security story, probably, right? But it's so crazy to me. And now Republicans are kind of like, we need to move on. No, the fuck we don't. Nigga, this shit ain't happened in 200 years. And it was your own people prompted by your boy. Like a sitting president encouraged mutiny. What? Are you fucking kidding me? If they don't deal with this shit before inauguration, they might just get ready for this to happen like a damn holiday. Like there's gonna be national let's take over the Capitol Day. They're already planning, according to the FBI, armed protests in every capital of in every state capital of the country.
That was a
lot of niggas was officers, and and again on this show when we say niggas, we mean everybody and anybody, all people, places, things,
niggas
animals.
Does not have a gender.
It does not have a gender or a race. It is not even necessarily a sentient object. There were cops involved, meaning cops participating off duty. That doesn't surprise anybody. But the Capitol cops, like there's video of them just opening the gates, ushering them in like it's a tour. Come on in. They weren't armed. They had less staff on site than usual. Trump rejected the request to bring in the DC National Guard initially. Virginia deployed their National Guard first.
In Maryland.
I didn't understand how there weren't tanks on the street from when the motherfuckers was still outside the building acting an ass. They maced police officers. They fought police officers. They injured, again, like I said, I was watching it happen, and white people don't surprise me more. I grew up in Bible Belt, South Carolina. Like, my high school, I've said this here before, high school literally named after Confederate general. None of this shit they do surprises me, but the lack of response, the lack of shock and awe, I think was surprising to me because I'm like, this is how far your man will go. And then Lindsey Graham, and then as he was telling them to go home, he was still like, you're totally right. You're so special. We love you madly. Thank you for everything you're doing. Go home though. But
keep up the good work.
But thanks so much. But you are the fucking shit. And I fuck with you the long way. But you should go home. But I love you. This nigga was like, we love you. What? This is the opposite of patriotic. It is literally, it's literally saying we don't fuck with America or the Constitution or the democratic process. We're going to interrupt it. We're going to stop it because you're not doing what the fuck we want you to do. I just, everybody should be so outraged. And I'm just not seeing enough outrage because it is literally outrage. This is actually outrageous.
You know when I knew Trump was willing to do anything? It was when it was the second debate in 2016 when he had a press conference hours before with the women who still had sexual assault allegations against Bill Clinton,
who was not running for president.
He brought them to sit front row at the debate. That's when I knew he will do anything. That was the moment.
Even before then, New York has been trying to tell y'all this motherfucker is a stunt queen. All he cares about is power. That's it. And Lindsey Graham's punk ass talking about he doesn't think they should invoke the 25th Amendment because he wants to preserve peaceful transfer of power. When your man told people to go storm the Capitol building of the United States of America and interrupt joint session of Congress to carry out the democratic process to stop the certification of the election, that was already your peaceful transference of power was out the window. Peaceful transfer of power been out the window.
Wednesday, I figured out who Donald Trump was last Wednesday. Last Wednesday, Donald Trump was Little John with a mega horn in the middle of 285 at 95 Freaknik.
You stupid.
The last person you need to get people riled up and set them off, because this person knows how to get people riled up and set off like never before. And that's what he was. It was just like he pulled a peak Lil Jon, because the crunk era, when Lil Jon came on, you did whatever Lil Jon said. If Lil Jon said throw somebody out a window, you was looking to throw somebody out a window. And that's what happened.
Run around the motherfucking club. You're going to run around the motherfucking club. I will still, in my house, I'll run around the motherfucking living room when I hear run around the motherfucking club.
To the window, I'm supposed to do. To the wall.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Carron.
That's who he was. He was Lil Jon.
So since then, Trump has finally been...
Wait, who was it? Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham was the East Side Boy.
No, what's your man's name? What's your man's name from
who was my man in the wheelchair?
The one who raised his fist outside. What's his name? What's his name? Oh, Cruz is the East Side Boy too.
Old boy in the wheelchair.
Oh, the young dude. Yeah. It's so now all of a sudden, Senate resumed. Everybody had all these long ass speeches they wanted to give on the floor, blah 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 blah, blah whatever. So now Trump has been finally, his Twitter account's been canceled, banned from Facebook. Any Donald Trump conversation is banned from Reddit.
Well, man, can we talk? Wait, let's find the comedy in this, because Black Twitter was amazing. Wednesday,
it was the best, because we was all Friday. As I tweeted, our universal name was Bennett. We wasn't in it.
Or it was Paul.
And that was sweet, y'all. That was not us. It was not our fight. It was not our battle. We were observers. And also, we just wanted to sit around and say, we told y'all every couple minutes. And I gotta give a special shout out to Joy and Reed.
Oh my God.
Because Joy said on MSNBC what we have all been thinking. The reason the protesters are chilling, the reason the rioters and fucking terrorists, because let's call them what they are. And I also found out on Wednesday that apparently there is not a national, there's not an actual national mandate for what constitutes terrorism and within the states, domestic terrorism. But
of course,
because so
you can't write a law against your own people.
Against your own people,
you can't write a law against your daddy.
So the reason that they were chilling is because they knew cops would be cool with it. The reason they showed no fear, the reason they had no hesitation, the reason they were acting with boldness, the reason niggas had on costumes, the reason they were on the Senate dais, that fucked me up.
Posing
for fucking pictures. That's what happens in a coup.
Anyway, the Senate chambers was that airbrushed shit.
The backdrop. Outside, you be like, they was like this. They was like, they were doing jail poses in Senate page.
We out here.
All somebody needed was a fucking Dapper Dan jacket. Word, they was like, they was really out there. They were posing in Senate chambers like it was chilling. And the reason they were doing it it was a day at the zoo or at the carnival or at an amusement park was because they knew and operated under the understanding that there would be no real consequence. You not getting me to break into no motherfucking federal building, dog? Are you fucking kidding me? Not a state, not a federal. Not when it's unoccupied. You want me to do that shit when niggas are in there? Are you insane? There is no way in the hell. And be chilling, having fun with it. Somebody howling their fucking work badge. Mad faces on camera, posting on socials.
Pictures.
Taking video. Excited and shit. It was, so Joy was like, the reason they're doing it is because they know cops are cool with it. They've been told over and over again their behavior is okay. And they feel like, the president, they control the president and they own this country, and that they can't be told that they can't make a decision about what's going to happen in their country. Because God forbid Black people have any actual influence. If you
they wanted, listen, all of those people on Wednesday demanded to speak to AppleCare.
Yeah, they wanted to speak to AppleCare. This was them asking for the manager, legit. And this is all it is. But if you can find the clip, of Joy on MSNBC, and there's another clip of Brittany Packnett Cunningham. Both of them also talked about the difference between the reaction just during peaceful protests for Freddie Gray in Baltimore, where basically the National Guard was there, and there was like armed militants. How many
Speaking
people?
of Freddie Gray,
Yeah.
never forget that the medical examiner classified his death as a murder, but the Baltimore Police Department couldn't find anybody responsible
For the
for
murder.
a murder, which is, if you watch The Wire, that means Moreland and all of them working in that department will still have something on the board that didn't get cleared because
They
the
couldn't
police
find. They could.
department refused
Who could it have been? What
to
could
pick one of their own to
Yeah.
say that a murder actually happened.
Correct. So we've been telling y'all about the police. We've been telling y'all about Donald Trump. Black folks who were on air on Wednesday were sick of the bullshit because we've been telling y'all. Black women were the first persons to tell y'all that the dark web and Reddit and 4chan and all those fucking chat rooms were radicalizing people and were fucking dangerous and were a problem. Black people have been shouting that domestic terrorism and white supremacy is a threat to the country, and nobody was listening, because what's been happening is that white people been like, we don't really care about our cousins who are terrorizing black people. We don't really fuck with them anyway. It's not our problem. But now they are also terrorizing y'all's asses and possibly going to crumble the entire fucking democracy, which is already like barely being held together with some fucking not even good scotch tape, like the scotch tape you get at the dollar store that ain't really sticky, like that scotch tape. Like this is where we at with the democracy right now. It's almost ripped apart. And somebody,
you know what it is?
You know when you rip a dollar up and you try to tape it back and it just ain't quite the same. Like that's where we at with the democracy right now.
You know what's holding us together? Remember glue sticks?
Mm-hmm.
How weak,
but like a dried out glue stick.
That's what it is.
And some gum. And like
cheap gum, like bazooka.
Yeah, like
chewed
it's bad
after all the sugar is out.
Gum. It's really bad. It's really bad. And it's also amazing to me that the people who criticize government the most seem to be the people who most don't understand how critical shit is right now. So that said, y'all are crazy, and if motherfuckers don't react in force, like now they out there picking niggas up. It's Tuesday. White people are crying because they're on no-fly lists. Like one girl was screaming and hollering because she got cuffed as soon as she got off the plane. Like y'all surprised at the consequences of your own actions. Like,
why were you out here?
Yeah.
My name, I'm from Knoxville. We're storming the Capitol.
But they maced me. The police maced me while I was trying to commit a federal offense. Like, old girl who got shot. They shot her because she was breaking into the speaker's office right outside of chambers. Like, bitch, that is a threat to national security. The number 1, 2, and 3 in line for secession were in that place at the same time. Like, do you not understand that? That's a terrorist threat. Like, whatever. So anyway, as white people are having to actually, now all of a sudden, the dude there was a photo of him holding zip ties on the Senate floor talking about he found him and picked him up and he was going to give him to the police. The congressmen who were involved, all of a sudden, like, they don't know nothing. Everybody needs to be censured. Everybody needs to be removed from office.
Listen, the best part.
Everybody needs to be arrested. Your man who's in lockup is demanded a fucking all organic meal. His mama told the judge he ain't been eating because they won't feed him organic food. And these motherfuckers are going to feed him organic food. I wish an actual nigga would be in jail and be like, y'all aren't complying with my dietary requests. Could you imagine? It's just, America, you are a fucking mess. And I don't ever ever hear a white person say they don't understand what we mean when we talk about white privilege of these fuck ass cops. Ever again. Not never. Not after what we've seen just in the past 12 months. Absolutely the fuck not. No. No. Y'all can't front like y'all don't know anymore. Y'all can't. Your cousins. Y'all be wanting to talk about our cousins and I get all right. Look at your motherfucking cousins. Look at y'all neighbors and y'all's uncles and them out there acting a goddamn fool. Look at that shit. Look at them. And it's not just no country backwards ass. One woman went there on a private fucking jet. One of the guys who was there, his dad is on the Brooklyn Supreme Court. He lives here. Like, nah, it ain't just Duck Dynasty and them. Nah. A human resource director for some insurance company. Exactly. Yeah. But go ahead, Carron. I'm sorry, I've been ranting. Go ahead.
I spent Wednesday enjoying the lighter moments of Black Twitter and laughing. It wasn't a laughing matter, so I want to explain that.
But we laughed because it was so outrageous. Yeah. Like, you couldn't do nothing but laugh.
Laughing at the absurdity of things that I was seeing and hearing and watching. A white coworker of mine wrote in our work chat that they were shaking in fear. I fell out my chair laughing. Like, crying, laughing like the first time I watched Kings of Comedy in the movie theater in 2000. Because I was like, I didn't respond. I was like, why are you shaking?
Right.
Your white ass is in your apartment.
Being white.
14, 15 hours away. Right. No one's bothering you. What are you like? If you were there, nobody would attack you. What are you scared of? And I was just like, you're shaking? It was hilarious to me because I was like, how soft can you be? Like, what? Why are your nerves bad? As old black people like to say, why are your nerves bad?
Well, maybe he thought the entire country was about to collapse, which would have been a valid concern, frankly.
I mean, this goes to one of those testaments of whenever stuff goes bad in this country, Black people just have this inner strength and inner saying where we look at each other and we always say, I've seen worse.
Right.
I've been through worse. And
to be clear,
worse than.
But to be clear, folks will always be like, Black people are so strong for so long. Understand that we
haven't had a choice.
We haven't had a choice. That's the thing. It's survival. It's not like, that's one thing I started doing in 2020. I'm going to bring it with me in 2021. Don't compliment the Black people on their calm in the midst of chaos. Because if we always reacted to chaos, we would be on full react mode all the time. Because Black life is always chaotic. Like, it is necessary for us to actually function in society to be able to block certain things out and compartmentalize and keep it moving. And also to find the humor in crisis. But in that regard, I've said during Trump's entire administration, this shit would be hilarious if it wasn't so dangerous. Giuliani leaving a message on the wrong senator's phone about slowing down the vote because his ass is fucking senile would be hilarious if it wasn't so dangerous, right? Like, these motherfuckers and the clown shit, the clown aspects of what were happening at the Capitol would be hilarious if it wasn't so dangerous. So as much as you think Trump supporters are incompetent and foolish and uneducated, also understand that, like, the fact that a foiled attempt to kidnap an elected senator or the mayor, the governor of Michigan, the fact that
shout out to Big Gretch,
the fact that a failed attempt to kidnap the governor of Michigan largely blew over, right? The fact that then an attempt to assassinate a New Jersey federal judge and the shooting of her son and her husband instead also blew over. And then I'm not even sure if this was a Trump supporter, but it's scary as shit. The fact that somebody blew up a whole Nashville block on Christmas Eve and that blew over. Like the fact that these things happen and people just be like, okay, moving on. All of Trump's behavior and this whole election stealing shit, the fact that this is even persisted this long is insanity. But should have been so alarming and so concerning. But that all got us to this. It's like when you have a badass kid and you just be like, he'll be all right, he'll be all right, he'll be all right. Eventually, no, that shit is going to be dangerous, if you're not corrective. And Trump only cares about power. He does not care about this country. He does not care about this country at all. He cares about power. And we told y'all that this motherfucker's been trying to steer us to 1933 Germany. He's put every effort forth possible. And people be like, no, that's too harsh a comparison. No, please go read. Just go read. Because that was where it just, they have to do something. Everybody, and by they, I mean Congress. And by the Congress, I mean the GOP. Motherfuckers got to do something, because if you let Trump off and just let him finish out his term, fortunately, he said he's not going to the inauguration, but also, like, what sitting president doesn't go to the inauguration of the new president? Who doesn't do that? Like, that's one of the biggest parts of, decorum and ceremony and just protocol.
That decision is good and bad. That is the one scary thing I have thought about.
That they're gonna try to bomb the fucking inauguration. That's why he's not gonna go.
Yeah, like one part of me is just like him not being there because he might know something. The other part of me is happy him not being there because it's just like, because we just want a moment to just have actual adults around.
But he's also not, like, I believe he wouldn't want to go anyway, because Trump can't be part of anything where he's not the center of attention. Yeah, not for all those hours.
And the last thing he went to like this didn't go well. Whose funeral was that?
Bush Senior.
Yes. Where everybody was sitting there and it was like the Obamas, the Bushes.
All the other living presidents were chilling and he was just on the out.
When he walked in, I was like, the last time he was in one of these situations, it did not go well for him.
Because he didn't go to McCain's funeral. He did not go to John Lewis's funeral. He did not go to Elijah Cummings' funeral. He doesn't go to things where he's not going to get some praise and attention. So he's definitely not going to
go to things where he has to be an adult.
Correct. And just like sit there and behave.
Shut the fuck up. Like he doesn't know how to do that.
Yeah.
And like I wish I could have been there when he found out he was banned for Twitter forever.
I wish I could have been there when he found out that he lost the PGA tournament. I wish I could have been there when he found that Bill Belichick wasn't going to accept his fuck ass Medal of Freedom.
Listen.
No, I promise you, Bill Belichick was at least equal to him losing his Twitter account. At least.
No, because you can call Bill and have that conversation. But when you take away Trump is the drunk dude that finds a way to always get a hold of the microphone at the party.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone knows what's going to happen if you let him drink, or if you don't have someone watching him, he's going to find a way to get up here. Him getting banned on every social media platform forever means that he's never going to get another microphone.
Yeah.
That is what's eating at him the most, because you've taken away the one thing he's always had. And what I mean by that, we go back to the Exonerated Five and him buying out
that newspaper
pad, and the billboards. Like, he's always had the TV shows and the Art of the Deal, and he's always had an outlet to reach the masses. Now it's not TV, it's not print so much, it's social media. You have taken away the thing he's always had, he could always lean on, and he needs the most.
Right.
And it's like, what do? They finally got the Infinity Gauntlet off Thanos' hand.
Even though it would have been really nice if they had done it earlier. like before Iron Man had fatal injuries. They could it's like if they could have, like, if Quill could have just stayed still, we wouldn't have had to do a whole separate
You know who
movie.
Peter Quill is?
Who was Peter Quill?
Peter Quill is the 53% of white women that couldn't vote for Hillary Clinton. Correct. That's who Peter Quill is.
Correct.
If you would have just done your job.
But Peter Quill is also everybody who did protest votes who knew better because they were so sure that Hillary was going to win. I'm putting y'all in Peter Quill too, because we should have, anyway. But it's really like that. If Peter Quill had just not been so fucking stupid and sat his ass still, we would have never even had to go through Endgame. If 16 hadn't happened, we wouldn't have to go through this bullshit right here. But at any rate, Trump only has a week left in office. A week is a long time. A lot of shit can happen in a week.
If he does have a week.
Right. These the Dems introduced articles of incorporation, but the GOP is doing a lot of hand-wringing, and people are putting out a whole bunch of statements, and cabinet members resigned because, it was a line last week was too far.
A cabinet that never got filled.
Yeah. The damn acting member of Department of Homeland Security resigned yesterday. It's just all stupid. It's all stupid. It really, he just needs to be, history, I think, needs him to be either impeached or removed from office. The impeachment would be a good thing because it means that Trump can never run for office again. And that he's already planning to do something, to try to do something, even if it's just to fill his coffers with campaign money, right? So yes, I believe that if he is impeached and sentenced this time, because let's be clear, he has been impeached before, but he just wasn't sentenced. So the world is watching, I'm watching, but I also need my fellow citizens to take this shit more seriously, because everybody's acting like it. Not everybody, but too many people are acting like Wednesday wasn't as serious as it was for me. It makes me uncomfortable.
You messed that up.
Okay.
You said you need all my fellow citizens to take this more seriously. You need white people to get their shit together.
Yes.
That's what you mean.
But I need everybody to understand how real this shit is, because I think that's how we got here in the first place. Motherfuckers like to have philosophical debates about shit that has real consequence. You know what I'm saying?
You talking about the Mark Lamont Hills of the world?
Yes.
You talking about the Van Joneses?
Because there's real consequence to this shit, y'all. For real.
Just be out here saying anything. We can afford to lose an election.
You can't, because guess what? We could not. Turns out we couldn't. Turns out there's a couple 100,000 people who are dead right now who would have liked to argue that.
Can't be out here releasing flyers with you shaking a hand with Meghan McCain. Can't.
Just saying. Poor Van. The grift is gonna get harder and harder to pull off. Them checks gonna be so much harder to come by. Shout out to Don Lemon, who almost said fuck that live on air yesterday. Or shut the fuck up. To people who are complaining about Trump getting Twitter taken away. I salute him for that.
Shout out to no. That's shout out the person. Let's shout out to whatever human being got Don Lemon together. He's come a long way.
Don got Don. No, but you know what? Don, here's my theory on that. I have not yet forgiven Don for the shucking and jiving, because but let me say, because I believe that Don got Don Lemon together. He saw that the state. Don is 54. Don is a 54-year-old black man who was raised by a single mother in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Don knows who the fuck he is. I just think he realized that shit was getting a little too serious. And now he had his weeknight anchor desk, which was the goal. So it was time to put his big boy cap on and stop shucking and jiving for these fucking white people. Because the way he advanced from the weekend desk to the weeknight desk was by fighting with Black Twitter and by being the other Negro. And he realized that shit was too real. And it was time to pull it together. But he has never walked it back. He has never apologized. He has never been like, I was wrong. He has never been like, I've grown, I've learned. You know why? Because he ain't grow. He ain't learned shit. He just realized that he could put away the bullshit. And it was time to get real. So I appreciate his existence now. I appreciate that, he put on his motherfucking Huey P. Newton shit and decided to get it together, but yeah. I mean, it was time though, because if you still tap dancing through all of this, you couldn't be called nothing but a coon.
You
Speaking of which,
know,
I don't think Candace Owens has had a lot to say lately, but I'll take a look at that. Maybe her baby's here. So before we close, because we're way over time already, I really need to understand. And Carron, I know you can't even explain it to me, but maybe you can try. I need to understand people's preoccupation with what Lori Harvey, who I don't even think we know what Lori Harvey's voice sounds like. I don't think we've ever heard her speak. I don't think we've ever seen an interview with her. Why people are worried about what this 24-year-old rich ass woman
icon.
is
No,
doing
you only described her as an icon.
is doing with her life. Like Lori Harvey's pussy management or whatever it is.
Is
Why
outstanding.
are
It is
you so
outstanding.
flustered? Like, why is it such a problem that Lori Harvey is dating people who happen to also be celebrities? Like, she's a
Now
socialite.
why?
This is what socialites do. Lori
You
Harvey
know
is the definition of a socialite. This is what
you
socialites do.
you know why? It's layered. There's 3 layers to this. One,
Yes.
from the female side, Lori Harvey is the girl that most women at that age or looking back who didn't live their lives or growing up wanted to be and never could be because of their physical limitations
Mm-hmm.
or the way they were raised, or they just didn't have the heart to be a killer,
Right.
but always wanted to be. On the male side, Lori Harvey is that girl you always thought you could get in your
Yeah.
mind until real life happened and you realize you didn't have you have physical limitations, you have monetary limitations, you have just natural human limitations you were born with where you don't even know where these type of women reside.
Right.
And lastly, for the older generations, and this is where you got to bring Steve Harvey into this, and with the real irony, her stepdaddy wrote a book that got made into 2 movies. And if you break the family structure down enough, you should have saw this coming.
Well, wait. Let's
Lori
not.
Harvey.
No, let's talk about,
No,
because
no,
it's
no,
not
no, no,
about
no,
Steve.
no,
You
no.
getting to Marjorie's game?
I'm
Okay.
getting
Okay.
to
Okay.
it. Lori Harvey is like the perfect person when you think about and you know the histories of Steve Harvey and Marjorie.
Mm-hmm.
Obama is a stone cold killer
Yep.
savage.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
A stepdaddy. Then been what, divorced 2, 3 times, but always trying to tell women what to do with
But
their
also
own
was trying
bodies.
to get at Lori through both marriages. Also that.
Yeah. So when you put all that into the pot, you're gonna have some really good gumbo. And that
Right.
gumbo is Lori Harvey. And she also just don't give a fuck. 2, like you said, she doesn't say a thing, which is the best part about it. And 3, it's what I don't understand the negativity of what anyone can say, because if you didn't know her, if she was less cute, less thick, less popular, and she was just the girl who lived next to your dorm in college, she would be doing the same thing and you wouldn't have a problem with it, because most people, everybody knows Lori Harvey. They just don't look like Lori Harvey can do what Lori Harvey can do, but you can have a problem with them.
Right.
But now you got a problem with her because she out here living a life you want to live. Let Lori Harvey live and just put that woman on Mount Rushmore.
Well, also, I think some of the deeper parts of it is that, like, people are struggling to unlearn things that have been ingrained in us since forever that we never thought to question. So, like, the fact that
That never made any dumbass sense.
Right. So like the fact that women who date multiple people before they get married, and I'm just saying date. I'm not even talking about fucking, not none of that. Just date are somehow, but even fucking if you want, are somehow damaged or promiscuous. But like men are supposed to date as many people as possible before they settle down. But like, why? Nobody can really explain the why. Because this maybe back in the day when you got married at like 20, I can understand that argument. Or 12. Like, and I was trying to tell somebody, like, you realize that the Bible was written at a time when because somebody was talking about the letter to Corinth. I was like, yes, Paul wrote that to Corinth at a time when people got married. Women got married as soon as they started their periods, and unmarried women of a certain age could basically be just attacked in the street by any man of means because just what
people also like to live out that the life expectancy at that time was, you know, was a little shaky,
somewhere there.
A little shaky. You know?
Somewhere in there, right?
Kids at 80, or you can die at 8. You know, it was
either way. It could go either way. Historical context is important, which is why I think fundamentalists are insane, because you can take the Bible and apply it to life, but you literally cannot take some of the text, not the God said text, but the stuff that the apostle said thousands of years ago, millennia ago. Like, come on, anyway. So I think that there is still this struggle in a time when women do not need, when everybody gets married later, first of all, especially Black people. Secondly, when women do not need to get married for financial stability or support.
Say it again.
When we are able to, and not just because of earning potential, but because
y'all don't need us.
There was because 40, 50 years ago, women couldn't hold bank accounts in their own names by themselves without
couples
men as co-signers.
Stay together like grandma and them used to do, because grandma and them and you had no damn options, nigga. That's why.
Right. Couldn't have credit, couldn't buy and own property.
You willing to stay with a motherfucker if you can't go nowhere else if you in there.
If you literally have no option, and you can't go back to your parents' house because you got like 13 more kids behind you that they still trying to get up at the house, right? And also, so women don't necessarily need men for financial stability. They can have kids on their own. It's not as frowned upon anymore to choose to have a child as a single person. So, you know, the idea is supposed to be that men offering women a ring is supposed to be like the moment that a woman's like is self-actualized, right? Like that's supposed to be a goal. Like your value as a woman is supposed to be to become a wife and a mother. Like that's what you were put on earth to do, was to bring children into the world. So if you're not in a rush to be a wife and a mom, then what are you here for? But also for some men, I think the conversation you don't want to have with themselves is, if a woman's not pressed for me to choose her, because that's the gift for some of them niggas, is I chose you. Like, that's it. I want you to be my girl. I want you to be my wife. Girl. And I'm not giving you nothing else but the fact that you are chosen, and that should be enough. So when there's a fact that like, but I don't necessarily need to be chosen, then it makes niggas think, well, oh shit, where does that leave me? Like, what do I have to offer? Nowhere.
This is like when dudes always say, whatever. I love when this happens because I laugh my ass off. If you ever, it's like a reality show or a movie, or even in real life, if there is a situation between a man and a woman in their relationship, and they're in a rough patch, and the dude says, I don't feel needed, or there's a single dude and he's just like, you know, I want to, or a woman would give another woman advice, like, a man's got to feel needed. And I'm like, for what? Like, I don't never want a woman to need me. I want you to want me. Need me? Fuck you need me for?
But I will say this, there is need, like, I need you around the house to fix some shit, or I need you to feel safe. And there is need, like, I do need your
Do you really
emotional
need that,
support.
or do you
Well,
want
no,
that?
but be clear. It's I need like the way I need love from my mom, right? So I say this to say this. For me, because I've had this conversation before, and it started early. Like one of the first time I dated an older man, he was like, "You don't need me for shit," and he was like offended, and I was like, "What do you want?" Like, okay, so for me, I'm in my 40s. I'm single. I'm single by choice right now. Like I ended my last relationship not because there isn't love there. There is
I
great
knew that
love
was
there,
coming.
but because not because there isn't love there. There's great love there, but because
I
I was
knew that
like, this
love
isn't
was coming.
this, but this is, and I love him still, but it's like there, but we ain't gonna work forever. Like we could get married and we would probably stay married, but we would be fighting all the time, and I don't want to do that. Right? That's not my idea of a good thing. Getting married just to be married, being in a relationship just to be in a relationship, being in a contentious relationship is not
Exhausting.
to me better than being single and
It's
chilling, right?
exhausting.
And I'm not even trying to date right now because for what? It's a pandemic. We gotta be all up under each other all the time. I'm good. So, but the thing is, like, I do not. The only thing I need in a partner is a very specific level of support, friendship, and
Loyalty,
companionship and loyalty. And the reason I say
honesty.
a very specific level is because I get a lot of that already from my friends and family, right? I have a very full life already. I have a full set of tools, including power tools, and my daddy taught me how to use all of them
Oh,
motherfuckers.
listen, we know
Right?
you know how to just make
I
stuff.
got hand saws, drills, hammers, pliers, fucking like what you need. I got all that shit. And
You
like
need
I
me to
said, know how
build
to
you
use.
a house? Give me an hour.
I could use help sometimes. I need somebody who can lift more weight. Sometimes I do, but I'm not gonna say I'm not anti-marriage. I actually take marriage very seriously, almost too seriously, maybe, because I had a daddy who liked to get married, but didn't like being in a marriage. And I think too many times people think about my father was married 3 fucking times.
Listen,
Like I think
nobody loves being married like an old black nigga.
listen,
Nobody. They love their
I think there are
husbands,
too many
but
people who
not
think
their
too much about
spouses.
getting married. I want to be married, but don't think about what it means to be in a marriage. And that's the real shit.
They don't give a fuck
Right?
about that.
No. But my daddy
Listen,
would get
they just want an old lady.
married.
They just want an old lady. That's the old lady at the house.
Yeah. My
That's all
dad
they
got
want.
married.
They just
My
want
dad's
somebody
second
at
wife.
the house.
My dad's second wife was some chick I saw one time my whole life. She could walk up on me on the street. I would not know who the fuck that bitch was. But he married her ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know who she is. But I think they live together as man and wife like 2 months. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody, that's stupid. It's stupid. So I say all that to say with Lori, if you out here really questioning Lori or for some reason thinking she's a hoe, or for some reason thinking it's immoral, or for some reason thinking she's a bad example, I really need to understand why. And you're gonna say, because young girls are gonna think that's okay. Okay, why is it not? And you're gonna say, because nobody wants a woman like that. And who is nobody? I need you to follow your line of thinking all the way through
Who
until you
Lori
get
Harvey?
until you get to patriarchy and archaic religious ideals. I need you to follow your thinking all the way through until you get to the point where you challenge yourself on that, and then come back to me. That's what I need. That's all.
Listen, all you gotta do is someone who's been like, nah, anybody want a woman like that, then everybody talk to. You know what your answer should be? Then how do the Kardashians exist?
Hello.
Because everybody has been touring those facilities. I'll say it that way. Which I don't have a problem with. And I don't think they should be judged.
You know what?
The thing you should judge is how that, like, if the Kardashians were black, oh my God, the scrutiny.
Right. But meanwhile,
black,
but also meanwhile, like Future, who not only fucks everybody, but leaves babies with them. Which, by the way, shout out to Lori Harvey for not getting pregnant by Future, because I was concerned.
That was never gonna happen.
Oh, I was so concerned because I know he tried. I know how niggas like that talk to women. Like, that's the whole "you would give me a pretty baby" shit. I know how I've heard them conversations.
You know how I knew she wasn't gonna fall for that?
Mm.
when everybody talking about how like Lori got Michael B. Jordan posting pictures and he finally claiming a black woman, and this is the first dude she's ever posted. But we never see Future post pictures of women. And she was when Future was posting pictures, not even like out here stunting. No, like booed up, intimate, like, babe, come here. Like, I want to be a little spoon tonight pictures. I was like, oh yeah. She got this. Listen, I'm not worried about her. Let baby girl flourish.
But also, like,
She in
whatever
control.
she's doing, it works for her and it works for the people who she dates. You, whoever you are, I'm talking to. She's not an option for you, so you actually don't have to have an opinion. Whomever you may be.
Sorry, Meek
Whomever
Mill.
you may
Sorry,
be.
Meek Mill.
You don't want to marry a girl like Lori Harvey? Don't marry a girl like Lori Harvey. Women like Lori Harvey ain't looking for niggas talking shit like that anyway. So it's fine. Everybody's fine. Stay at your level. This is the same thing as y'all niggas who be talking about what you would or wouldn't do if you had to pay out a divorce settlement like Jeff Bezos. You ain't never gonna have money like Jeff Bezos. So you really don't, or Dr. Dre. You don't even need to be concerned with that. It's fine. You worry yourself about things that are way above your station.
These are the same people that had issue with Joe Biden's tax stuff. And it was like, fam, you don't even make enough money for this to affect you either way. Shut up.
Whatsoever.
Stop
so
talking.
On that note, we're gonna close out. I'm glad to be back. I didn't tell you about my dollhouse. I'll do that next week. Carron, any closing words here? Aside from fuck Van Jones. Sean's been quiet. I wonder what he's up to. I need to go look.
Just we talked about Sean King's people acting up enough for today. But sure we'll have enough stuff to talk about next week. Given that, on the next episode of What White Folks Are Gonna Do Next. Tune in next week.
Be careful about white people. They're dangerous and unpredictable. Be safe out there.
Those thugs.
Such thugs. All right, guys, later.